Are you on the phone, or
I'm sorry, say again?
are you on the phone, or are you using your voice over IP?
I'm using VoiceOver.
Okay.
Hi, Lori. This is
Erin, you found me. Thank you.
I did.
I guess I scheduled in the wrong place.
See it. But then I was just like, well, I'll just check the other ones, and then I found you.
Yeah.
But it looks, I see your site. I mean, it looks, the same as with the other ones. So.
Okay, good. So you can see the full screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Hi, Erin. It's Rochelle.
Hi, Rochelle.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Everyone's doing fine. So, okay. So, Lori, if you want, we can mute ourselves. And are you going to use video?
I do have a few short videos. I might show you portions of them, but it depends.
Oh, I meant if you were going to. Are we just going to do?
Oh, am I going to be? No,
audio?
I'm not going to. Just
okay.
audio. Yeah.
Okay. And then a couple things to note that trying to show the videos within the CCC Confer, a lot of times it doesn't work very well because it buffers and streams. So sometimes on the other end, the people that are trying to view it, it can be really choppy or sometimes won't load. So just to keep that in mind. But,
all right.
I will mute myself, and then feel free to just start to go through and sort of talk about your portfolio.
Okay. I chose to do mine in Google Sites. It was a little challenging, but I thought it worked out fairly well. I set the navigation up so that I do have the standards shown as a separate page with the bullet points, and then underneath I give reflections and my artifacts and why I chose those particular artifacts. And then I also put in sort of a small map to access them down at the bottom. You guys can't see my screen pointer, can you? Probably because I don't have a whiteboard.
What is it that you're wanting us to see?
Can you guys see my mouse arrow?
No, I can see portion of your screen.
Okay. How about this? Oh, I guess I can't use that in here. All right, sorry. And now it's not going to let me go back. All right. Give me just 1 second. I didn't realize it would do that. Okay. So within the standards themselves, you can actually click on the words, or if you go to the navigation bar, this will also take you directly to the same artifact. I just thought that would be a little easier as far as navigation is. As far as the actual standards go, we'll just start with the top. I have a brief introduction as to why I started at @1. And I'm toying about putting in a short biography page just to give people a little better idea of who I am. Standard 1 is all about supporting student success. I've added Moodles or Wordles to each of my pages just so that I could focus on the keywords when I was working on my reflections, and I decided to keep them. But to demonstrate Standard 1, I chose my syllabus, a welcome letter, and the student assessment for success. I send the syllabus and the welcome letter out ahead of time so that students can take a look at both before they make a determination as to whether they want to take the class. All of these are geared towards giving the students the information that they need as far as what I expect of them, what the class is about, and what my expectations are for them to do well in the course. I also like to give them information about what they need to know as a first-time online student so that they're prepared for taking the class. I have a couple links in both the syllabus and the welcome letter that direct them to the distant education page, online readiness quiz. I have a section where I put in my expectations and a checklist for them to go over to make sure that they understand what would be expected of them. I also have included information for the help desk, and in the welcome letter I give them specific instructions as to how to log into the class, and also information on the DSPS for any students that require that. I feel all of this helps them to be a little more comfortable and feel that they will be more successful once they're in the classroom environment. I also have an assessment for them that they do the first week of class. This is a low stress level assessment for them. They're basically to read the information in the syllabus and the welcome letter and to answer certain questions so that I know that they know what it is that they need to be successful. Things like what email address I'll be contacting them on, what netiquette is. I have them write a short essay on the class policies. And this does two things. One, it lets me know that they know how to use the course forum area and how to take a short quiz, so they get familiar with actually using the same assessments that we'll be doing in the online class environment. And it also lets me know that they have understood what it is that they need to know in order to be successful for this class. I also have a first-time video. I won't show this to you, but it walks them through the entire course, where to find all of the important information, how to actually access the forum, how to post to the forum, how to take a quiz, so that they feel very comfortable working their way around the LMS and alleviate some of the stress that they might have. Any questions so far? Okay. Standard 2 is all about collaboration and learning and engagement. And I feel that it's very, very important for students to really feel engaged, especially in an online class, just because they don't have as much face-to-face interaction that they would normally have. So to demonstrate this standard, I included my interactive learning lesson. This is just a short osteology project that I have the students do. They do some web research. They work as a group, so it also falls under the collaboration. I give them specific directions. I point them towards a specific website, and I give them a worksheet that I use for them to actually address the questions that I'm asking. They collect the data and then they go back and they post on the forum. And then they compare their answers with their other student groups to see what they've come up with and share ideas. So this is just a example of the worksheet that I supply for that particular lesson. I also show videos because not only do I like to have recorded lectures, but people learn in different ways. So I always like to include a video that covers the same information. And when I assign videos, I also like to include a video guide so that I can direct them towards what it is they should be learning, the information that I would like them to get from the video. This is I've also included a screenshot of one of the students who answered this particular question, which is about tuberculosis in Russia. And the fact that she really loved this kind of assignment, and she really enjoyed the video learning. We also had another one on creationism and evolution, which is very controversial. So it always makes for good interaction amongst the students. Web research, we saw a little of that in the interactive lesson, but I do assign a lot of web research that is in addition to their readings and the videos that they're presented, so that they can take that basic information I've given them and go do something constructive with it. In this case, we were working on genetics, and I had them do some web research on a group of people called the Fugates of Kentucky that have blue skin. And why do they present with blue skin, and what does that tell them, and what does it tell them about the phenotype and genotype of the individuals and the parents involved? They were to make a Punnett square with that information. So I find that the students really like this kind of interactivity rather than just the standard reading and lecture scenario. I did include a VoiceThread, although I don't use VoiceThread mostly because my school doesn't support it, and I really can't afford to buy a subscription to it. But I did include a VoiceThread that I did specifically on cranial identification of prehominids, which the students actually, I tried it out on them, and they actually enjoyed that very much. But like I said, I don't have subscription, and the school is not willing to go that route, at least not now, but hopefully they will in the future. But I included that in there so that you could see that not only do I know how to use VoiceThread, but that I had actually developed something in VoiceThread. Standard 3 is collaboration and active learning. Did I do that? Did I mistake that? So in this case, I use the cafe, which is a very safe area for students to go to and post information, collaborate with one another, get feedback from their peers on their projects that they're working on. They have a problem and they want ideas or suggestions, they can post it here. This is a screenshot of one such experience. I had my students doing a mini ethnographic project, and one of my students had attempted to engage somebody for the project, and he had a little bit of an interesting interaction with them. So he came to the website to ask students for help and guidance as to how to go about approaching people, to get feedback not only from them but also from myself. I also use a weekly forum because the collaboration is very important, and I gear my forums around not just the information that the students have learned, but the additional web research that they've done so that they can synthesize this information.
Lori?
Yeah.
Lori?
Yes.
See, at least on this screen, it looks like they kind of go way off the page.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know if
interesting.
it's on my side. I don't know about you, Erin, but it looks like the discussions that you posted, maybe it's just, I'm gonna have to just, I mean, you can just scroll to the right. I was just curious if it was.
Mine's not presenting that way. Erin, is yours?
It is. One thing I noticed when I was putting stuff into my site, that sometimes it would do that. So I don't know. But I could see it when it was doing that. I'm not sure. I think that for some reason happens with these Google sites. I don't know, when you add things in.
Yeah. I mean, it's not critical. Just that once you're kind of starting with one format, and then like the discussion 5 is bigger, and then when you get down to the next where the postings are, that's even bigger.
Really?
So it just seems like it kind of grows a little something.
Okay.
I mean, it's not critical. You can see the information in there, so that's not a problem. I was just wondering if it was just on my
It's not doing it on mine. It doesn't do it in the site itself either, but I will check that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's good to know. So the forum, we do a weekly discussion, and I took a screenshot of one of our forum questions, and I also posted example postings from the students who had responded to this, just so that you could get an idea of the interaction that goes on in the forum. And then again, I used my interactive lesson, my osteology lesson, to demonstrate this standard as well. Standard 4 is about communicating with the students. Again, I think it's very important that students understand what my expectations are and how to be successful. I group these together, a page for my expectations with additional information about my welcome letter, my class policies, and my syllabus, because I think that's important. But I also wanted to show you my feedback discussion boards. This is an example of feedback for students on the discussion board. And I also posted feedback, 2 videos, feedback that I gave to students, just so that you can see an example of that as well. One is just general feedback about a student who had posted a very controversial topic on the discussion board, which was great because it really got a lot of interest, and I wanted to let her know that I appreciated that she sort of stepped out there and took that chance, because I do want my environment to be safe and creative, and it's one of the things I stress, especially since we cover some very controversial topics in anthropology, religion, and evolution, and creatism. So people can feel a little intimidated. And then my second one is specific feedback to a student that had been having difficulty actually performing on the discussion board, and things that we had discussed about and how he had improved, and additional feedback that I gave him for additional improvement over the next couple of weeks. I won't play those because I know that they have a lot of lag in them. Standard 5, ethical and safe practices. This is very much where my class and course policies come into play. My course policies are made up of a plagiarism policy, an etiquette, and a privacy policy. I also feel that it's important to post information in the common resources area of the class. So not only do I send them this information as an attachment in an email, but all of this information is in the common resources area, which is right at the top of the course, so that they can access it at any time. I also include a link to the Students' Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. My etiquette and privacy policies are pretty straightforward. As far as etiquette goes, I have a 0 tolerance for bullying and flaming and being offensive. And I make this very clear at the very beginning, because like I said, we do cover some very controversial subjects, and it needs to be done with respect. So I have a 0 tolerance policy for that, and I make it very clear right from the beginning. My privacy policy, I think this is important because a lot of students just don't really realize just how vulnerable they are on the web. They see, technology as a great thing, but they just don't understand that they can violate other people's privacy as well as giving away important information about themselves. So I include this to make sure that they are not only safe, but that they keep their classmates' information, whatever information they may happen to have after they form friendships and stuff, but they keep that information safe as well. Standard 6, ADA. All of the course information that I give to students in either text or PDF documents is formatted properly for text readers. All of my videos that I do are captioned. I won't play this for you, but they are captioned. I also like to give multiple learning options because I realize that students process information in different ways. I certainly know that I do. So I like to give lectures, video lectures. I also like to have access, the students access to PowerPoint outlines. I always include transcripts. A lot of times I will give assignments and I will let students choose how they wish to fulfill that assignment. So they could do a written report or they could do a video diary, just to give you an example of different ways for them to address the same issue. PowerPoints I know are problematic as far as them being compliant. So what I do is I take my PowerPoints and I actually use Camtasia and I turn them into video lectures, which I also provide captioning and transcripts for. Questions? We're all good?
The one thing I was just going to say, it is, and I love that you convert your PowerPoint lectures into in Camtasia, because I think a lot of times that keeps students' interest a little more so to actually have that more like a video type thing than a PowerPoint. But depending on what kind of computer you have, there are the built-in accessibility checkers, so it is relatively easy to create the accessible PowerPoint. And then a screen reader can read the outline text.
Oh, okay.
So are you on the Mac or PC?
PC.
Okay, I'll send you where to look for it, and not that you have to change what you're doing, but if you ever wanted to do a PowerPoint, you just wanted to check to see if it was accessible, it'll tell you if you have any errors and how to update it or fix it.
Oh, great. Thank you. Standard 7, student learning objectives. I am very, very careful, especially since I started taking classes at @1, to make sure that my student learning objectives are really tailored towards my assessments and towards my actual lectures, what I'm teaching and what I want students to really understand and grasp. The assessment roadmap that we did in one of our classes has been invaluable as far as that goes, helping me keep track of and tailoring my SLOs to my assignments. I do use traditional assessments. Just an example, I don't really score a lot of points on these. I give these to students so that they can assess themselves as to how well they are doing. I let them take these tests usually multiple times so that they can go back and figure out what it is that they've done incorrectly and hopefully find the correct answers and come back and take it again. I usually find that they do. But I don't put a lot of point value on this for them, so it takes a little of the stress off of them, and I think they actually spend more time learning than stressing about how well they're going to be graded. My non-traditional assessments, though, I use these because I take all the information from my course, everything that they've read, the videos that they've watched, the research that they've done, and I bundle it all together. It's directed at a specific student learning objective, and then I also try to make it pertinent to themselves or to what they will be doing. This is just an example from my anthropology class. In the first week, we always go over, what is anthropology? What are the 4 sub-disciplines of anthropology? So they take all of that information, and then they go and they do some web research, and they find a topic of interest. And it's really very hard for them not to find something that applies to them specifically as far as what they're studying in college and how anthropology can apply to that. So that's basically what this assignment is about. And by answering this question, they have to know what subfield of anthropology their interest falls under, and specifically, how is it relevant to them and their career field. I find it to be a very nice way to just tie everything that they've learned in for that week towards their student learning objectives in a concrete manner for them. Standard 8, data collection and revision. I do a lot of revising. I find that when I'm working in my classroom, if I have something that comes up that students don't understand or I haven't explained properly, I like to go back to my sandbox area and fix it so that the next time that I put the class up there, it's already available. I'll sometimes come across better examples that I want to use, or better web research that I want them to do. And I also like to change the course every semester because, one, I don't want students to just hand over papers and information to the next generation of students coming in the door, but I want it to stay pertinent, and there's always something, especially in anthropology, that's can be applied to the present day. But I do have an evaluation and revision plan. Data collection I find to be very useful in Moodle. It lets me know when students are logging in, if they've taken their tests, how many times they might have taken their pre-practice tests, and utilize that ability to take it over and over again. And all of this lets me know how well a student really is going to perform on the discussion board. So if I see students who's struggling on the discussion board and really isn't participating and just doesn't have the answers, I can go back in here and take a look and see how often they've participated in the other assignments that they were supposed to be doing. And a lot of times I'll find out that, they just didn't bother and they came to the discussion board because that's what they were getting graded on, and they put something together at the last minute. So I can look at this data, and then I can contact the students and offer them feedback as to how to do better next time around. I also give surveys in my class, usually at the halfway point, and I always give one at the end of the course. This helps me so that I can decide where to take something next. A lot of times I will ask for feedback at the end of a learning unit to see if the students thought the information was pertinent, if they enjoyed the assignments that they did, if they struggled with anything, and how I could best change that. I always like at the end of the class to ask my favorite question, which is, what's the one thing you learned in this class that you'll never forget? And I get some pretty interesting and exciting answers. And I also like to ask the question, what was the one thing that you did in this class that you thought was completely pointless? And that gives me some very valuable feedback as well. Data collection. Standard 9. Standard 9 I had struggled with a bit as far as ongoing professional development. I was sort of gearing it all towards working with people in an online environment, networking that has taken place through the @ONE classes, and Deborah Lemon has a very nice after Boscombe Facebook page where we can go and ask questions and get some excellent feedback and discuss things with other instructors that might be struggling with the same problems that I am. So I find that to be very helpful. I've also recently completed the online training for Butte College, which has given me some valuable insight. Dan Burnett actually teaches that class. It's an excellent class, and also allowed me to interact with other online teachers there and get a lot of valuable peer feedback from them, the problems that they have and how they solve them. So I find that to be a valuable resource as well. Standard 10. This is the technology side. Luckily for myself, I happen to be more technically minded than I am probably socially minded. So I don't really use things like Facebook and other technologies outside of the classroom. And that's not really because I'm not a social person. It's just that I find that students, every time you send them out of the learning system into something new, they find it frustrating, or they have to log in, or they have to complete some sort of weird little survey or something. And I just find it better to keep things contained within the LMS system. So it alleviates a lot of those problems. But I do use media to support learning. My welcome letter definitely identifies how that they are supposed to access the course, what they'll be required to do in the course. My first time here video, I think they find very helpful because it walks them step by step from the very first time they walk into the site, as soon as they've figured out how to log in and get access to the site, which is in my welcome letter. It shows them absolutely everything they'll be doing in the class, how to access everything, how to get from here to there. And I think it really helps to alleviate a lot of that stress. I also provide a weekly overview video of what that particular section is that we're covering, and sort of walk them through their learning module step by step so they have an idea of how to complete their assignments, what I'm looking for, best ways to interact with their fellow classmates, that kind of thing. And also, this is also, I also included a video of a learning module. So that's pretty much all I have. So I'm open for questions and comments.
It's Rochelle. I think you've done a great job. I really like that you really are very interactive with the students. I think the use of the video responses, I'm sure, is pretty meaningful to the students. And you don't have to worry that maybe they, just from an email message, maybe they didn't get really what you were trying to tell them. So I think that's terrific. It looks like you have lots of terrific information. I'll spend some more time over the next couple of weeks, just going through and looking at all of your different options. I think I took 4 pages of notes, so I will need to kind of go back and review my notes, but I think you've done a great job.
Thank you.
This is Erin, and I definitely agree that you've done a really great job. I had looked at your site before, but I can tell you've been putting lots and lots of work into it. It's been really helpful to me to watch you go through your artifacts as someone who's really new. You know, I feel like you've done a lot of things that I think would be helpful to the students in terms of really having a strong presence in the class, and certainly, you know, dealing with controversial topics is something that I might have to consider as well. So it's really good to kind of see how you've done that. Yeah, I think that it really looks great. And I guess, you know, some of the things that you do are things that I definitely would like to do as well, although there's a few things that haven't really been on my radar, like cafe. So I'm just wondering what your experience has been like with that.
Yeah, I like the cafe area. The cafe area is a place, it's sort of like a Google Hangout for them, only they don't have to go basically out of the LMS to get there. I really kind of stay out of the cafe. I go in and I monitor, but I don't usually leave comments. I just leave it as a place where they can sort of talk among themselves and sort of feel like nobody's listening to them. It does give me some interesting insight, you know, if there's a problem, if there's something they didn't like, or they felt that something was unfair, that'll usually pop up in the cafe, and that'll give me a little bit of warning so that I can go back and sort of rework it, because I think fair play is very, very important, especially in an online class. So I find it to be a valuable place. I will go into the cafe and I'll post, usually weekly. I'll find something, well, I could do it daily really, something interesting in the news that pertains to the topic that we're discussing that week. A video or something I find on NPR or Talk of the Nation or something like that, and I'll paste information and a link to it. And I find that a lot of students, they go there on a regular basis and they check it out and they'll come back with something that they found and post that as well. But that's usually all I will do in the cafe as far as that goes, and the rest of it I sort of leave up to them.
Yeah, that seems really useful, especially, you know, just in terms of seeing where the students are at. I mean, I can tell that you're someone who really tries to be sensitive to the kind of experience that your students have and, you know, modify your class accordingly, and that's something that I really want to do, although having not really taught online, you know, it's good to think about some different ways to do that. So maybe I'll try cafe too. Yeah, I think you've done a really great job. I don't know. I don't know what else I can add. But yeah, it's good. I definitely want to go back and, you know, take a second look at some of the things that you've done, and, you know, like some of your videos that I know don't load well on CCC Confer. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I've spent actually a lot of the summer working on this because I'm just so overstacked. I've got 4 classes that I hadn't actually intended on teaching this semester, so.
That is really intense.
Yeah. And like you, Erin, I came to online teaching rather drastically. I taught my first online class in January of this year.
Oh, wow.
I was hired at Feather River literally 3 weeks before the class started. And
oh my goodness.
I had no background whatsoever. and I wanted to let you know, I know in your sorry, I'm dyslexic, so my brain turns off every once in a while. I wanted to let you know that when I went to Feather River, I had absolutely zero support. The most I got from them was, we'll set up a place for your class and have at it. That's why I gravitated to @ONE, because I had no clue absolutely no clue what to do with this. I didn't know how to use Moodle. At Butte, I used Blackboard. It was tremendously overwhelming, but you'll do this. You will, and you'll do very, very well at it. If your school happens to support you on online learning, that's great, but I've really found that for some places it's just sort of an afterthought, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I think, can be, which is interesting, especially when they're, you know, looking to expand their online course offerings.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that you know, definitely puts instructors in a tough spot. I mean, I'm so impressed with how you've been able to navigate that. After my arm this morning, I definitely went, and the first thing I did was contact the instructional support person, and she was really nice. So I'm feeling a little more optimistic about that aspect. But yeah, you've done just a great job. I can't imagine navigating that learning curve out of nowhere. So yeah, you should feel good about that.
Oh, well, thank you, but I only bring it up because I want you to know that it's doable. So
I really, really appreciate that.
You'll be fine. You will. You'll be fine.
Well, and I think you're in the right place. The @ONE program is really a great place to sort of learn all of the different skills and things that you need to learn.
Yeah, it's been tremendously helpful. So, you know, and certainly seeing, you know, what my peers in the class have been doing has been really, really helpful as well. So I might have some questions for you, Lori, at some point about what your experience has been like with Camtasia, because I'm about to embark on that. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah. How has your experience with that been?
It hasn't.
Okay, Lori,
Yes.
Lori, do you want to continue recording this part, or do you want just to stop recording, just because I know that some other people may